Hey YouTube, my name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. And today we're going to be talking about baseball movies. If you're a fan, you know that this time of year. It is baseball's All-Star break, so I figured that was a great time to talk about baseball movies. The sport is actually my first love. When I was a kid, that's the first sport that I really followed, really got into. And I'm a New Yorker, and so I'm a big Yankees fan, and that's going to come up in a bit actually. But let's just go ahead and talk about what I have as far as baseball movies. And I'm going to start off with a few movies where baseball is not really the main point of the movie. But then I'll work into some more traditional baseball flicks after that. No, I don't have every baseball movie, so if I don't mention it, I don't have it. I don't own it. And I'm just talking about movies that I pulled right out of my collection. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Speaking of movies where baseball is not really the main point of the movie, and that is Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. So in Life, they're actually Eddie Murphy's really a moonshiner. This is back during the Prohibition days, and he's a moonshiner. He gets busted and gets Martin Lawrence's character wrapped up in his nonsense, even though he has really nothing to do with it. They get sent to jail, they get sent to prison, and they're in there for years and years and years. And about halfway through the movie, I believe, a young prisoner comes in, and he is a baseball prodigy. He's got some other problems, got some social problems, and doesn't really talk much, but he's definitely a baseball prodigy. And there's a lot of scenes where our two main characters here, they try to help with his technique and get him ready to move on and play actual baseball, play pro ball somewhere. The warden of the jail has some connections with the local baseball team, and they managed to accomplish that. And that's not really spoiling anything for the movie, other than there is a really great joke associated with that. But yeah, baseball takes up a good section of the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. One of the funniest movies in either guy's filmography too. So if you haven't seen that one and you want a good laugh, you like those guys, that's a great one to check out. The next one, baseball, is even further into the margins of the movie, and that is Mo Better Blues. And people who've seen it might not even remember this. It stars a Spike Lee joint, stars Denzel Washington in the main lead, and he's actually a jazz musician with his own band. He's trying to make it big, and his best friend is played by director Spike Lee. And what causes a lot of issues in the movie is that Spike Lee's character is as a gambling addict, and he's always gambling on baseball. He's every day he's sitting with the paper, he's making bets, and he's in deep to some bookies, and you know how things like that go. So baseball definitely plays a role in Mo Better Blues, even though it's definitely not what I would call a baseball movie. Similarly, there's a little more baseball in this one, but similarly is the Naked Gun. And in the Naked Gun, what happens is at the end of the game, the end of the movie, not the end of the game, at the end of the movie, the climactic scene takes place during a baseball game, during a Major League Baseball game. We see Reggie Jackson, Baseball Hall of Famer, plays a major role in it. And of course, Frank Drebin is trying to stop the Queen of England from getting killed. Queen Elizabeth is at this game, and it's really funny stuff all the way through. It's one of my favorite comedies of all time. So definitely take a look at it if you like silly humor. It's definitely a spoof, a parody, and it's one of the great ones. Next up is definitely we're going more serious, and this is also more of there's definitely a drama. There's not hardly any humor here, and this is based on a true story, and that is 8 Men Out. So it is based on the 1919 Chicago, they call it Chicago Black Sox scandal, but the team was the Chicago White Sox, and they were accused of throwing the World Series, and it was a big court case about it, and most of the team was kind of looked at for this. And one of the main characters was Shoeless Joe Jackson, one of the main players in this, not main players, but one of the people the movie focuses on was a guy named Shoeless Joe Jackson, real life baseball legend, great player. And if you talk to baseball fans, he should be in the Hall of Fame, but because of this scandal, because of this case, he was banned for life from baseball. He's not in the Hall of Fame, and this is a really good movie. exploring that whole case. And I'm not sure. I think it might have won some or been nominated for some Oscars. I'm pretty sure it was. But great movie, 8 Man Out. Check it out. This next movie is probably more of a drama than any other movie in this video, and it's one that for baseball nerds like me is a gold mine. For other people, the drama of it, the father-daughter story that is in there, and just him trying to achieve a goal, the main character trying to achieve a goal, is what carries the day. So it's still good for people who aren't really baseball fans, and it's not about a baseball player per se. He was a former player. He's now running a team and trying to figure, he can't afford to do what the big teams do and get all these superstar players. So he's trying to come up with another way, and this is based on a true story, and it's Moneyball. And what that means is basically they start introducing analytics to Major League Baseball and start building a team that way and see how it works out. Yeah, it is based on a true story, so you get to see how that all plays out. Brad Pitt is amazing in the movie, and if you're not a baseball fan, that's okay. It's much more about the man, about the drama, about his life than it is about actual baseball, even though there's a lot of baseball jargon in the movie. Jonah Hill is also in it, and he does a great job as well. Next one is the only movie here that I haven't seen, and this is actually a Dollar Tree pickup. It's Henry and Me, and this is where that Yankee fandom comes in, guys. So I was digging through the shelves. I would almost say crates, but there's no crates down there. Digging through the racks or whatever they have in Dollar Tree one day, and I just came across this movie, so picked it up. Got a bunch of Yankees on the cover in this little cave here. Haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it, and I read the back, and that's what made me pick it up. So I'm going to read the back really quick to you guys. Not the whole back, just part of it. It says, when Jack is thrown a curveball at such a young age, a magical guy named Henry takes him on an unforgettable adventure. On their journey, Jack's dreams come true when he meets his biggest heroes, the New York Yankees. So there's more on the back here, but it was enough for me for just to, it was worth $1 at the time. This was before Dollar Tree raised their prices to $1.25. So it was worth it to me to just pick it up. And yeah, I'm gonna give it a go. I just kind of been putting it off, and it's probably a good time to watch it this week. So why not? Henry and Me. So I'll let you guys know what I think of it. If anybody's seen it, let me know what they think of it. So I'm looking forward to it though. Next one is one that a lot of you have probably seen. Definitely if you're a baseball fan, you've almost certainly seen it. It's a classic baseball movie, classic comedy, Major League, with Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger. There's Corbin Burnson right there on the cover, and there's a lot more. It stars in here. Wesley Snipes is in here. This is one of his earlier movies, and it's they play for the Cleveland Indians, of course, and especially at the time when this movie was made, the Indians were traditionally a terrible team. They hadn't won the World Series in forever, and this team, the owner was basically trying to move the team. This is a fictionalized account, actually fictionalized movie, so it's not a true story like 8 Man Out. But the owner wants to move the team, wants to move it. I want to say it's to Florida and be in a nicer climate. The team, the fans, they don't want to move. So basically, she just gets in a bunch of cast-offs and guys who aren't really major league level players and throws them out there so they can fail, and the city would be happy to see them go. These guys catch wind of the plan and have other plans, so they decide they're trying to rebel against that. They don't want to move, and they don't want to waste their one shot in the major leagues. So this is a classic baseball movie and a funny movie, even if you're not into baseball. My favorite is actually also not listed, and I did mention him, Bob Uecker, who plays the announcer for the team. So if you ever heard anybody say just a bit outside, they got it from this movie and Bob Uecker. And he is really, for me, he's always the best part of the movie. And then of course there's Charlie Sheen as the wild thing, and who actually throws the pitch that causes Uecker to say that. So definitely check out Major League if you haven't seen that one. Another great lighthearted baseball movie is also one of the great coming of age stories of all time, and that is The Sandlot. A lot of you guys out there have seen this one. If you haven't, this is a great one to share with your family, even if they're not baseball fans. This is a great story. It's a group, this group of kids right here. They spend every day in the summer playing baseball. That is what they love. That's all they talk about. One of the kids, however, is a new group to the member. He just moved into the neighborhood. He really doesn't know anything about baseball. Can't play baseball, but he still tries to get into this group. So, and on the field that they play, there's a gargantuan dog that lives just beyond the fence out there. And later on in the movie, James Earl Jones shows up, and it's just a great baseball movie. So again, I know a lot of you guys have seen this one already, but anybody who hasn't, I highly recommend Sandlot. Another classic baseball movie is Bull Durham, and Durham. This is Crash Davis, I think is his name, if I remember correctly. So Crash is known as one of the greatest minor league baseball players of all time. The problem with that is you really want to get to use the minors to get to the major league. You don't want to be stuck in the minor leagues for 10, 15, 20 years. You want to use the minor league as a springboard to get to the major leagues. Either that, or after a few years you figure out it's not for you, and move on and do something else in life. But he has always played minor league ball, and he is hanging on, and he's getting to the end. He finally decides he's going to retire, and this is his last year. And with all his experience, they want him to basically take a young kid under his wing, and this kid has a lot of potential. Who's going to play at the major league level. And of course, this woman right here, played by Susan Sarandon, she gets in the middle of that. Tim Robbins, by the way, plays the young guy. He plays a pitcher who's definitely going to be a big-time star, and he is assigned to Kevin Costner's character, the Crash Davis. The funny thing about this, or not funny thing, but interesting thing about this is it is called Bull Durham. The team that they play for is the Durham Bulls, and I am actually right now in Durham, North Carolina, where the movie is set, and part of it was filled. The ballpark that they play at, it's not been torn down. They just don't. The Durham Bulls, who are still around, don't use that. They use a newly renovated stadium that they've had for the last 15, 20 years or so. But the old park is still there. They do use it for some events like 4th of July fireworks and some other things that they have, concerts. And so it is there. You can go by and see it if you ever come to Durham for some strange reason. The last couple of movies are actually this next one, not a lot of people have heard of. And these last few movies, they all deal with basically with black baseball players. And this first one is Bingo Long and traveling. I always get the name wrong, even though I've seen this movie several times. Let me read the name for you. The Bingo Long Traveling All Stars and Motor Kings. All right, that is the name of the movie. I never get it right. Anybody asks me what the name of this movie is, I always just say Bingo Long. So that's all I need. And the guy in the middle, Billy D. Williams, he plays Bingo Long, and he is more or less, he's a fictionalized version of Negro Baseball League legend Satchel Paige. And they're the Traveling All Stars and Motor Kings are a barnstorming team played in the Negro League era. And barnstorming, if you don't know, that they just travel from town to town playing local baseball teams or whoever they had out there. And then yes, they also played Negro League games. So this is about that group, and it is insanely fun movie. It's hilarious. It's got a lot going on with it. Billy D. Williams is great in the lead. Then there's James Earl Jones, his character is basically a riff on Josh Gibson, another Negro League legend. And then there's Richard Pryor, who plays a guy who's basically, he's pretending to be Cuban. He's black, but he's pretending to be Cuban. You would have to see it and let him explain it. It basically deals with how African Americans were being treated versus foreign-born immigrants at that time. It wasn't great, but there were some subtle differences. So he was trying to play on that. Again, a lot of baseball fans even haven't heard of this movie. Check it out. You don't know what you're missing. It's a good time. Next movie I talked about in Bingo Long. Some of those guys are actually fictionalized versions of real people. Well, this movie's about those real people, and this movie is called Soul of the Game. It's another a great baseball movie. It came out on HBO. It's an HBO original movie back in the 90s. I want to say 96, and it stars Delroy Lindo, Blair Underwood, and Michael T. Williamson. Michael T. Williamson, you probably know from Forrest Gump. He was Bubba. Here he plays Josh Gibson, who I mentioned. And Josh Gibson is known for hitting home runs. If legend has it, he had more home runs than Babe Ruth. Delroy Lindo, who anchors the movie, and he's just so good in everything I've ever seen him in. But he's great again here, and he plays Satchel Paige. And Blair Underwood plays Jackie Robinson. And what's going on with this movie? It is the end of World War II, and Major League Baseball at that time, if you know anything about baseball, or you may have even heard this in school, it's an all-white sport. No blacks were allowed to play in the major leagues at the time. And a few teams were looking to integrate. They knew how much talent was over in the Negro Leagues. They were looking to integrate the sport, but they were trying to find the right person to be that first guy. And this is all about that search, and it's really seen much more through their eyes than a movie like the next movie I'm going to talk about. So this gives it a different tint, and it's one I really appreciate because so many times in stories like this, it's told through the lens of the white characters, but this time it's really not. It's told through their eyes. It's a really good movie, Soul of the Game. And next is the movie that is told from another character's perspective, largely from another character's perspective, not solely. It is 42, and that is actually just about Jackie Robinson. 42, the Jackie Robinson story is the full title of the movie. And in this movie, Chadwick Boseman plays Jackie Robinson, of course, and this is all about after baseball is integrated and his first year with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And it's a very, I call it, it's not a Disney movie, but I call it a Disneyized version of it. It's kind of tame, but it's really the story that I've heard a lot growing up back in the days, and the story I've read books about. It's pretty close to plays are pretty close to the vest as far as that's concerned. Nothing really crazy happens. Not to say nothing crazy, but nothing really new if you know the story of Jackie Robinson. Nothing really new is uncovered. If you don't know the story of Jackie Robinson, it is definitely an eye-opener. It is definitely one that you should use to educate yourself on. And going a little further in that vein is another movie about Jackie Robinson, and this one came out in I want to say in the 50s, in 1950. And so shortly after Jackie Robinson's career started, this movie came out. His career started in 1947. This movie was 1950, and it is the Jackie Robinson story. And yes, if you're looking at it, that does actually say Jackie Robinson in the Jackie Robinson story. So not only is it a biopic about him, but he plays Jackie Robinson himself. He plays himself in his own biopic. It is so it's definitely a bit of a fluff piece. It's been a really long time since I've seen it, but it goes goes into his military career a little bit, and definitely talks about some of the things that he went through. So it's an interesting contrast to 42, and of course it's black and white movie, 1950. So check it out if you haven't seen it and you're a baseball fan and you're interested in the story of Jackie Robinson, the life of Jackie Robinson, who after baseball became an activist of sorts. So it's definitely one you should check out, just if you're interested in seeing baseball movies. And I'm gonna do something that I shouldn't do, and I'll put a picture up, and I'll put the picture up right here. It's a movie that I just popped into my head that I forgot to grab. I do have one in my collection. I'm not gonna go stop the video and go get it, but I'll talk about this movie. It's called Sugar. Sugar is a fantastic baseball movie. This is another HBO movie, like Soul of the Game. It is. So I'm guessing it's on HBO Max. So check it out. Look for it. If it's there, let me know, or just have at it and watch it. Especially if you're a baseball fan. Sugar is about a young guy from I think he's from the Dominican Republic. He's a pitcher, and he has amazing talent. And of course, he's brought over and put in the minor leagues to try to survive and make it to the majors. And the things he goes through living that minor league life, which of course is not glamorous, bus traveling, a little bit of money every day for meals or whatever the things you need, and add to that he has the language barrier because he doesn't speak English. So, and then the culture barrier because he's just plucked out of the Dominican Republic, where he was a poor kid, didn't really have much, and just dropped into America in the Midwest. And it's a very different environment. It's a phenomenal baseball movie. So check it out. It might be my favorite baseball movie of all time. I love all of these movies here, but that one's just amazing to me. And again, it's called Sugar. So check that one out. And guys, that's all the baseball that I have for you today. Like, comment, subscribe, start a conversation down in the comment section. Be civil, and we can just chat about some baseball movies. Let me know what you saw, what you like, what I missed, what I don't have, what I should get, do all those things. And that's all I got for you guys. Catch you on the next one. Bye.